We're on. Hi, welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. I'm Matt Connerton, and this is, of course, the Honorable Gary Hopper, New Hampshire State
You
Rep.
use the term honorably quite loosely. Thank you, Matt.
I'm trying to, I'm trying to really drill that into the viewers' heads that you are honorable.
You want a Rick Santorum sticker?
No, thank you. But I'm excited for you because I know that he's your guy, and he did very well.
He did really well.
And-
Anybody want one?
And I will say,
Absolutely. I'll take one.
I will say for everyone who thinks that their vote doesn't count, if you don't know, within eight votes,
Yeah,
eight votes, Romney won by only 8 votes in the Iowa caucus. So
Yep, absolutely.
it does. Everyone's vote counts.
Absolutely. Everyone's
All right, so what are we doing tonight?
Well, we have some ladies here.
Oh, yeah. Okay, first I want to talk about
saying
politics.
that loosely also.
I'm just saying. Gary, I don't know if you saw, but there's some ladies here. So whatever you want to do, we'll
Well,
roll
you know
with,
my
but-
eyes aren't so great, Matt. So.
Yeah, I know, and you're married.
And I'm married, so just because you're on a diet don't mean you can't read the menu. Anyway, so...
Agreed.
I never heard that one before.
I never have either. That's
you didn't
pretty
hear
good,
it. You
actually.
didn't hear it this time either. No.
Yeah.
People listening
Oh
to this.
no. Politics. Quick politics. I am so cotton picking tired. I have issues, let's say, and I only got like 2 or 3 hours sleep, and then I went to Concord and listened to politicians all day. A couple. As people know, I am a right-wing conservative nutcase Republican, except I believe that the laws on business and everything else have to have come. There has to be a bar set, a moral code of ethics, that the people are protected from predatory lending and things like that. And we have a huge contingent of Republicans/libertarians who believe anything goes.
Right.
And I disagree with them adamantly about this. And so we had 2 bills passed today. One of them was the payday lenders.
Yeah.
400% interest. That passed. I voted against that. And the other one was the title loan lenders, and that's a 300%. If you want to get that, I don't know who that
Do
is.
you want to grab this? Okay.
Okay, no, you want to grab this.
Well, you know
I don't
what I
want to actually grab it.
Well, no, not physically, but
okay, technically.
Right. Yes.
Spiritually.
Hi, welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. Who's on the line? Hello? It's the Phantom.
Oh, I hate that guy.
I know.
Or
He
girl.
calls once a week. What's that? Okay, thanks, Joe.
But anyway, so that's a couple bills that went through the House today. Hopefully the governor vetoes them, and
Hopefully.
because I don't think we get the votes to override them. We had what else? Fetal homicide was butchered today, which I think if a woman decides to have a child and somebody kills her and it kills the fetus, that's a double homicide as far as I'm concerned.
That was one of the first shows we did.
did?
On that topic.
We did that a while ago. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That, Kathy Souza, state rep from Manchester,
Yeah.
came on and talked about that, and that was it got hacked up by politicians.
Yeah, it's
They
too
did
bad.
not agree at that?
No, they don't. They kind of did, and then they kind of butchered it and played with the language, so it in some parts doesn't mean anything. It was a bill that we passed, but
It's a watered down
we
version of it.
passed gas more than that. So let's see. Politically, on the big spectrum, big stage, everybody knows about 2 months ago that watches a program that I endorsed, Rick Santorum, and then shortly after that, Glenn Beck actually somewhat. He doesn't endorse people, but if he was going to endorse somebody, it would have been Rick Santorum, and.
And I managed to say something nice about him myself, if you remember.
Yeah, you said something nice, and
Yes.
and it was because of your and my effort.
Yes.
He won. He came in second. He was off and on winning all night long.
It is a victory of sorts for some. He came a long way.
Yeah, he came when I first endorsed him. He had 4%. Yesterday, he had tied with Romney for 25% of the vote.
He was ahead for quite a while.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he was.
yeah.
He did really, really good. And the reason I'm supporting him, so people know, is I believe we can't afford any more politicians. And how I define a politician is somebody who runs for office because they want to be in office, who votes for things because they know it will get them reelected,
Right.
and votes against things because he knows that that's, they listen to the political wind and try to figure out what they can get away with. They are typically in it for self-interest and sometimes even worse, just power itself. And that's a politician.
Right.
A statesman is somebody who does what they believe is the right thing to do, regardless of public opinion and regardless of what he's told, because he knows it's the right thing or she knows it's the right thing. A perfect example of a statesman was George Washington. George Washington, for people who don't know, was one of the few people in history, except for Christ, that I know of, who actually conceded power because it was the best thing for the people.
Right.
He had within his grasp the ability to take this new, after the war, after a Revolutionary War, he had the ability as general to take over the 13 colonies. He could have been the first king of America. But he put down his sword, so to speak, and went back home
Yeah.
and said, no, I don't want that because that's not what's best for everybody. Okay, that's what a
Right.
statesman does.
Right.
I believe we have two true statesmen in the race right now. Everybody else, as far as I'm concerned, is a politician who wants to be king, or wants to be, president or whatever. And the two statesmen, I believe, are Ron Paul and Rick Santorum. And to me, the reason I'm voting for Santorum as opposed to Ron Paul is Edmund Burke said, for evil to succeed, all is necessary is for good people to do nothing. Okay, that's all that's necessary. You don't have to help evil. All you have to do is nothing,
Right.
and evil will succeed. And it is also true with countries. If Ron Paul is elected, the one thing he has almost absolute control over is foreign policy. He will pull our troops back from around the world, and we will lose that authority that we have around the world to affect change. Therefore, the powers of evil will overtake, and eventually we'll have to fight them at our own shores, but we will lose
Yeah.
eventually, because
He's
we
an
will.
he's an isolationist beyond
He's an isolationist.
anyone I've ever seen.
And so
really.
there's some other stuff that people say that's basically attack ads, and I'm not getting into that.
Yeah.
But his fundamental philosophy is isolationism.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And is why I support Rick Santorum for president. And I'm really glad he did really well. I'm supposed to be over headquarters right now, but you people are a lot prettier. Anyway, so back to our subject. More important things. Charlene Craig was a friend of Cheryl's, and when we did the tribute to Cheryl, you were on here with Elizabeth, and who else? It was Matt, me, Elizabeth, Bill Gordon,
Yes.
and was that it?
That was everybody, right?
That was everybody?
I think that was everybody.
And then we had Collins and stuff like that. And when that night you said that Cheryl had wanted you to come on to talk about your pageant thing, and I'm a guy, so I got no clue about pageants. The only reason I watch any pageants is to look at pretty girls. And
You don't watch it for the articles?
no,
Oh, no, that's something else,
that's
never
something else. Yeah. You're a sick twister. Anyway,
That's why you have me here.
so Charlene, I'm such a jerk. I can't help it. So Charlene, we're joined with Charlene Craig, who is this is your passion in life, is to do
Yes.
these things for these young ladies. And I was I'm so sexist. I was thinking, what if a guy decided he was going to do pageant for young men?
I do.
He
have,
does.
We do have.
You
men in
do?
pageants,
Yes.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I'm not going to say anything then.
Oh no, we have
Okay.
misters in the pageant also.
And they were actors. Some of them were actors. Some of
Yes.
them were theater.
Thespians?
Theater people. Thespians, yes.
Well done.
Yeah.
there's
And I knew what it was too, because my daughter's my daughter is an actress, so I
Actress,
knew.
thespian.
Yeah, an old time. Yeah.
There was a politician. In politics, the dirty thing to do is right before the election, you have a giant attack ad against your opponent, because they don't have time to set the record straight or to do anything back.
No rebuttal.
No rebuttal. So there was a guy in Florida who came up with this big attack ad that says, my opponent's sister is a thespian in New York, and his parents are sexagenarians. And the guy lost because people didn't know that a
What they meant.
thespian was an actor or actress, and a sexagenarian is somebody over 60 or 70.
60.
60, yeah.
60,
That was in
right?
Florida?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. So that's awesome. So anyway, we got Charlene Craig, who is the ringleader of you crazy ladies. And then Christine, if I get this pronounced this incorrectly, you can beat me later. Christine Rizzotti.
Rizzotti.
I was
Give it to you
wicked
'cause it's your
close.
birthday tomorrow.
Oh, happy birthday, Gary.
Oh, I forgot.
And it's my birthday next Wednesday. Our birthday next Wednesday.
Oh, a lot of birthdays.
Are you guys like twins?
No, I'm much older than she
They
is.
just met for the first time today.
And they're still identical.
I'm like
twins.
twice her age at least.
You never know these days.
You just don't know.
You don't know.
At least twice her age.
Okay, so Christine Rizzotti. No.
Rizzotti?
Rizzotti. Okay, this is the good one. This is the good. Kim Katsianian.
Katsianis.
Katsianis.
Yes.
There you
What
go.
nationality is that?
It's Greek.
It's Greek to me too. Anyway,
If it ends in IS, it's usually
yeah,
Greek.
yeah, whatever. They have a lot of them people around here.
Greeks?
I haven't been to that. What do they call that big food festival they got? They don't call it a food festival. They have some weird name
Don't they
for
have that
it.
in the summertime?
Yeah, summertime.
I
The
No, I
Greeks
remember seeing it on the
and
news. I don't remember the
I've
name
never
of it.
been to it.
I know what
you
you
know
mean,
what it
and I
is?
can't remember what it's called.
I don't need to go. My mother makes great Greek food at home.
Well, you must know what the festival's called,
That's what
right?
the festival.
The Greek festival?
Yeah, what's the Greek festival in Manchester called then?
I'm not sure.
Oh, I totally
We
know
call
what-
it the Greek
I
Festival
totally
in
know what it is, and
Manchester.
I can't...
Some of the call in, tell us
Yeah,
what the
right.
Greek, what?
We think that's just the name, maybe.
The Greek festival? No.
Greek
no.
Festival in
No,
Manchester.
there is. I know.
there is
yeah, 'cause it
there's
was
a
on the news
weird,
and it
it's a
caught my
weird caught
attention,
picking
yeah.
name, and I had to ask somebody. Luckily, my neighbor's Greek, so she explained to me what it was, and I still don't remember what it was. And it's Andrea Stinson.
Andrea.
Gary likes to say things fancy.
Oh, okay.
That's why he says
Go for it.
Andrea instead of Andrea, and thespian instead of actor.
Mate instead of Matt.
Yes.
Okay, so anyway, Charlene, the floor is yours. Explain to us your fascination with this and how you got started.
Oh, God, I've been doing this for 13 years. I had a dress store. I was selling wedding gowns and things like that. And I
Oh, you're
started-
gonna have to be a lot close. You're gonna have to
Yeah.
share the
Just
kind
move
of
over.
like move the mic back and forth.
Push
on-
me down.
I was selling dresses, like wedding dresses, prom gowns, and stuff like that. And I just started really getting interested with the pageant.
I only wore
contestants.
those a few times myself, so
When you were a thespian.
when I was a
wore.
thespian.
Yes. You were just
Plus, I
acting.
did.
I was just acting.
Yes, yes.
Exactly.
I did
Don't tell my
pageants
wife
when I
by
was
that.
younger also.
What?
So I did pageants when I was younger. I always wanted to do acting and modeling and causes. It's just like something that's always been in me.
Uh-huh.
So I directed some state pageants. I really put a lot into it, and I just kind of wasn't happy when I brought them to the next level. So I decided to put my own system together that was different from the rest of them.
How so?
My system is looking for the complete package in person. We're not looking for Barbie and Ken just to stand out and look pretty. We're looking for the quality in the entire person.
So in other words, so you're telling you okay. This is weird to me. So you're saying that there's more to women than meets the eye?
Yeah, at least with my
I
girls
don't
that are.
believe that. I think that's sorry.
Do you need Advil? I have Advil.
You got Advil? Yeah. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. This is a total
No, a
jerk.
lot
I
of these
can't-
people, they have platforms, they have platforms, they have causes, they go out in the community, they do a lot of good for the community.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me feel good by providing the system and encouraging them to do that.
Yeah.
You know, like my favorite phone call since I started pageants was actually the year you won. It was when I got a phone call. There was a girl. She won Miss North America. She was from Canada.
Yeah.
And in her application, she had
Wait,
put
wait.
that she,
Now you're telling me Canada is part of North America?
yes, there's 23 countries. We have Dominican Republic that come. We have Puerto Rico. We have Canada. All of them do.
Oh, for a second I thought you meant there were 23 countries in North America, and I was like,
No,
huh?
no. As part of North
Took me a
America,
second,
it's
right.
included.
Gotcha.
So what she wanted to
I
do
was
was
just being a jerk. You're being stupid. Go ahead.
I know, yeah.
what she wanted to do was she wanted to be able to help children
Yeah.
in devastation. It was the same time that Haiti got hit.
Okay, yeah,
So
yeah.
because of her title, the Canadian government worked and got everything situated. I got the phone call. She was able to go to Haiti for 2 weeks.
Nice.
Now, when she called me, I'll be honest with you, we were both in tears. She was in tears because she was able to do this. I was because my system was behind her being able to do it. And that's why I do this.
Okay.
Especially when you meet these young ladies and see what they're about, and just to see what they do is what makes me feel good about it.
That is really awesome.
I love that system. What I've created, I think, is amazing.
Because, you watch the Miss America thing, and it's really, you get this really beautiful woman who is supposed to be really intelligent, and you say, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? I want to bring peace throughout the world.
World peace.
World peace.
That's a worthy goal and all. But come on, I mean,
Yeah. And I want to be emperor of the planet. Anyway.
It's funny, they don't ask them how they're going to do it.
No.
no specifics. Just
Well, also during the pageant, they do learn skills that they can use for everyday life as far as they do their interview. So by the time they're done with the pageant and the training, they know how to go in and get a job. They know how to go in and present themselves, how to talk to somebody.
Yeah, but as a pageant, especially the winner, they also have that authority to go actually work for different causes and stuff, I presume.
They do that with their titles, which all three of these girls are doing.
That's
She
wicked
has her
cool.
own.
Right.
Right, on different cause, you mean?
Her own
Or-
platform
her own
and
platform.
her own website and everything
Okay.
else.
That is wicked cool.
Yeah, like I said, it's just amazing. The girls, the girls, the guys that I meet, and just knowing that I'm part of them doing good things like that is why I love this as much as I do.
And you've been doing it for 13
This
years.
is my 13th year.
Now, how did you know Cheryl? Just friends from Derry?
Okay. What happened was that someone introduced me to Cheryl for the pageant.
oh,
Oh, because she was going to be in it?
She was going to be in it,
Oh.
and that was the
oh,
year
oh.
that everything was happening with her ex-husband.
Okay.
So she talked to me, and we both decided it was best for her to pull out at that particular time, and to do it later once she got everything straightened out. But then we became extremely good friends, so it wasn't appropriate for her to do the pageant. She was actually supposed to come judge it this year.
Oh, really?
These guys didn't know
Oh,
that.
that's
Yes,
too
she
bad.
was supposed to be one of the judges.
She would have been good, too.
I know, because she knows a lot about that, and she's a beautiful person herself. I mean, all the way around.
I know nothing about it, so I'll do it if you want.
Gary, that's so good of you to volunteer your time.
Yeah, I profess ignorance. I'm pretty good at that.
You know how many men have volunteered their time?
I bet. Oh, yeah. I am so shallow.
But they do learn a lot. They
I'm
learn a
so
lot about
shallow the sun
themselves.
comes out, I disappear. Go ahead, what?
I said they learn a lot of good skills too, just for everyday life, no matter
Yep.
what. So I try to make sure that every person in the pageant, because not everybody can win that big title, but to me they're all the same. That's why I have judges. They've won just by having the title and what they've done. It's just basically a competition that day on who the judges felt did better because they have a criteria
Right.
that they follow. But as long as they can walk away feeling that they gained something from it, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And I try everything I can. We do workshops and things like that too, to teach them a lot of good skills.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Because if you get through it and you're actually leading people, into a different and better future. I mean, that's how
Yeah,
much.
strengthen the skills that they have. And I'm not trying to, I don't want to change people. Just let them strengthen it. And if they make changes, it's because they want to do it.
So you're not married then?
No.
No, because if you're married, you would have a husband. You'd be trying to change him all the time.
I'm all done with them.
That's why I've. I know. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm all set right now.
I'm going to come back to Christine because her story is quite profound.
Yeah, she's actually the current title holder this year that won
Okay.
In the
And-
Miss category.
in the Ms. And hers is Ms. Petite because I have two different categories with each of the women's, which is teen, like Andrea, and then I have petite, which is for girls that are 5'4" and under. Because a lot of girls that are shorter, and I learned this with my business when I was selling gowns. I'd be like, "You're so pretty. Why don't you do modeling or pageants?" I'm too short. So
Yeah,
that's when I'm like,
that's always seemed to me to be almost ridiculous.
right, I'm 5'2". I went through it all, so I know what it's like. So that's why I have both.
What,
Yeah.
now,
Which
why,
works good.
Why is that?
I can answer that actually. My daughter currently is an actress and a model.
She's one of our contestants.
And
this year.
she's also a contestant, but she is right now. She's only 5'2". She's 13. She's almost 14, but she's not expected to grow taller than 5'6" or 5'7". So she'll never be a runway high fashion model because you need to be 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah, but why?
And she
Like
can
these
answer
two.
that because they're tall. They want that. They need
They want the tall,
the
thin,
designers.
long
They
legs.
they
Yeah.
design their clothes specifically for a very thin, certain size, it's size 0, size 1. They want the long neck, long legs, just a very
Because
thin.
most women, even some very gorgeous women, aren't 7 feet 8 inches tall.
And then but they want them that tall, and then they
Yeah.
want them in like 4-inch heels to be even taller.
To look thinner.
Because they want that thin effect, they want their fashion, their style,
So
their
if you're
design.
saying if I wore high heels, I'd look thinner.
You would.
It'd have a very much a slimming effect, yes.
Chrissy, where's your shoes?
How
Put on one of those thespian dresses from the old days, pair of shoes.
Her high
very-
heels, we'll
very
see, we'll let you
slim.
know.
Luckily, my daughter does not want to be a runway model. She wants to do more of the print modeling. But these young ladies here are models.
Okay.
And they could go on to be the runway models because of their height. Height
5'10"
really is
and
a
5'9".
factor.
Okay, so Andrea, how did you get involved in this? What's your...
I found out about the system through Kim, and I got interested in it because I really feel
Now, Kim's
A
your friend
passion.
or your sister or your
she's
mother?
my friend.
There's a lot of Kims. We just want to
Yeah,
very
Right.
common name.
Yeah,
Kim.
exactly.
This Kim.
sitting right next to me.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I feel passionate about anti-bullying because in schools there are lots of people who maybe they don't even realize they're doing it, and I just want to help kids who have been bullied, and I want to prevent more people from bullying. them.
We actually had, what month was that? Like August?
That was another one of the early
That
shows,
was
yeah.
early?
when
I
we-
think it was August.
I think
We
so.
had, end of August or the beginning of September, we had Dr. Smith from UNH came here to talk about bullying.
A lot of my teens have that platform because they've
Except then I
been through
kind
it.
of bullied him and he didn't want to come back. But
Yeah, you didn't vote for his bill.
Marissa has that
I didn't vote for the bill.
Yeah,
He got kind of mad at me.
he did, and then he bullied you.
Yeah, hurt my feelings.
Is that with or without the high heels?
Yeah, I didn't have high heels.
Or with or without the grenade. He still bullied you with
I
the
had the
grenade?
grenade.
That's why he got the grenade.
Yeah.
We had
So
a
I'm
backup
sorry,
plan.
honey. Go ahead. So that's what you're now. When you win your Miss what? When you've won, right?
She's won the state title.
Won
Now
the
she's
state
going
New
for
Hampshire
the
state title
international title
of
next.
what?
New Hampshire.
Miss
Miss
Teen
Teen
New
New
Hampshire.
Hampshire.
Okay, thank
North
you.
America.
Of North America.
Yes.
But is there a Miss Teen New Hampshire of South America?
No. Miss Teen New Hampshire, North America. When you do pageants because of trademark,
Yeah.
right? You have to always say the name of the system after it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yes, I've had-
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, so I just try to make sure because I don't want somebody else that's watching this to turn around and throw a lawsuit on me because
Right.
the whole title, which somebody tried doing that already once.
really?
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, so you decided to run for this, and how long does the process take? When do you?
Well,
do you-
she's actually competing in April.
I thought she was already. You kind of confused the hell.
To win the North America title, to compete for the North America title, that will be April 4th through the 8th.
Okay.
Right, she's gotten this title here. We didn't run a state pageant. What happens is that of all the applications that come in, I go through them and pick who I feel is the best, and she was the teen that was the best one to be able to compete in April.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you go through the list and try to pick people that are,
Well, that fits the
obviously.
criteria of what I'm looking for in my system. Because there's certain things I'm not looking for. I'm not looking for crown seekers. Someone that's I'm pretty, work the judges and walk away.
Right.
I don't
Right.
want that. So I go through. I don't want people that are going to continue to do the
to
things
fight
that the other people
to
are
fight
doing.
for the causes
Yes.
instead of just
And that the
acquiring
system
it.
can help the most by being involved in it. And she was the one chosen.
Okay, that's cool.
And they do it while they're waiting to compete for this.
Right. So she can be out there now getting sponsorship. She can start her causes now, and then then she'll compete in April.
Now, where do you go to look for help with your causes? Who do you approach as businesses or
There are many organizations around. There's
do you have a list that you start going through? And,
We should maybe pull that mic a little closer to you because you're quiet. Just want to
Sorry.
make sure we're hearing you. Thank you.
I actually work at a summer camp, so that's how this issue really got me started.
okay.
I counsel our kids. It's a Christian camp, so I help them
Oh,
with
whoa,
all
whoa! We
kinds
don't
of
let
issues.
Christians on this show.
And
Oh, you know
She's
what?
a teenager.
I know. I shouldn't say stuff. But what rotten thing did I do to some guy? He was out there. He
Oh, I love these kind of
Yeah.
stories.
was out there. He was out there selling raffle
regular
tickets
one of
for. I forget what it was. What's the organization in Manchester that does has like a rehab? It's like a Christian rehab for alcoholism and stuff like that. I forgot what the organization. Anyway, he's out there. He's out there trying to sell raffle tickets, and I saw the title. It was something Christian. And I looked and I said, "You're not one of those Christians, are you?" Oh, and the guy just like he didn't know what to do.
He wanted your donation, but didn't want to have to answer.
No, he didn't want
That's funny.
I'm such a jerk. but I amuse me, so that's really all that
I
counts.
abused
Yes.
myself. I was going through Derry one day, right? This was a long
Yeah.
time ago. I had a convertible car. I'm driving through downtown Derry. It's sunny out and everything else. I'm like, I wonder how people would react. I put the windshield wipers on. You should have seen them going through there. People either looking at me like I had an issue, which I did, or they were putting their windshield wipers on.
Really?
I had
Really?
it all.
They
Oh
must
yeah,
have
it
been
wasn't you
missing
watching all the windshield wipers going out of the cars.
Without looking up.
It just entertainment.
Yeah.
That is wicked cool. I
Just
like
doing a
that.
test.
I like being off the wall. It does definitely mess with my kids growing up, but whatever.
Yeah.
They're experiments anyway. The way I look at it. So anyway, you're a Christian working at a Christian camp, and you're counseling children.
And I talked to a lot of them, and they all seem to have similar issues, that they don't feel that with their friends that they can open up, or that they
Open up about what?
just be themselves, because they feel like they're being judged constantly. They feel like they don't belong, that no one really likes them, and that's a major issue that I see.
Now, that's pretty typical teen self-esteem issues too, though.
Yeah.
It's not germane particularly to Christians, but
Yeah, that's for anyone.
yeah. So how are you going to affect change, or what are you going to do to?
I am hopefully going to be going into some schools and talking to some younger kids. And the younger you start helping them and giving them the resources to know that bullying isn't right, even if you don't say something mean to someone, you could be hurting them. It's not necessarily what you say or what you do. You could indirectly hurt someone.
Oh yeah, because kids are so. Kids are so cotton picking vulnerable at that age. Especially teenagers.
Well, and
And
that's
they're
what makes
so
them.
brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it sticks with them though too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, once it starts at that age, it just gets worse and worse if something's not done about it.
'Cause I had a lot of physical issues growing up, and I know that I've told people it takes well, it took me 40 years to get through high school, but I'm saying typically, it takes 12 years to get through school, and the next 20 to recover from it.
Right.
I mean, there's people
Oh yeah,
that
sometimes you don't recover.
Yeah, there's
Right.
people that were hurt in high school or picked on or humiliated.
Oh, I was one of them. I know what it's like. That's why I like her platform, because I went through
Right.
it.
But see, myself, what I did is I used to humiliate other people to make myself feel better about myself.
Well, yeah.
Is
See?
that's what you should teach them.
It's the shield. It's the shield
Has to
you
be
put
practical
up.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The shield that you put up, and then there's other kids who stand by and watch it happen. You've got to teach the
Well,
other
because
kids
they're
not
afraid
to
if they
stand
do something,
then they're going to get it back.
become the
Yeah, their
target.
friends are going to do
They'll
something
be
to
the
them.
next victim. Yeah.
Right,
Exactly.
but there's just as many people who stand by that don't stand up. You need to stand up also, is what my daughter does the bullying thing. She's competing also, and she says, stand up, don't stand by, as well as, not letting it just go by. And she would be very happy. She'll be very happy to know that you're doing the same thing.
Yeah, that is very cool. It's a very difficult subject, though. But it's wicked tough, Christian or not. I mean, you look at as a Christian, you know what the disciples did when they started persecuting Christ. They scattered like cotton picking rats in a ship.
Right.
For the same reason, they didn't want to be now that was real persecution, i.e., they would be killed.
Right.
But still, it's the same concept. As soon as people are so concerned about themselves and their own self-image more than they are about what is or isn't right, which kind of goes back to my political stance about statesmen. Statesmen care about what's right and what the right thing to do is, as opposed to what is going to, make other people happy with them and stuff like that.
Yeah, how they're gonna benefit.
The second day of school this year, 8th grade, a girl put spaghetti in my daughter's hair in the lunchroom. Not one person stood up for my daughter.
See, why doesn't the
said
school get
anything.
involved in this?
And there were teachers around. Nobody said anything.
That's
but
what I
my
don't
daughter
like.
did not get up and tell the principal or anybody because she didn't want to make
The
it worse.
backlash from it.
She didn't
Right.
want. She
Oh,
didn't want
yeah.
to make it worse.
Oh, yeah.
And even though she's standing up for bullying, she also doesn't want to dig herself a deeper hole. So she's learning to deal with it, and when it's the right time and the right place, she's going to, get by. She's doing the acting and the modeling and the thing, and she's doing what's making her happy. This past few weeks, the past few months, I haven't seen my daughter happier. Last year was the worst year. She's actually getting by. She's making her own life for herself and realizing it's just a time in my life. And
Is that also a function of the fact that she's proactively affecting change or doing something about the situation? Hers, not necessarily specifically, but with other people, like you're doing, Kim. Does that help you with your own self-esteem, knowing that you're going out trying to help other people?
It's not so much a self-esteem problem for me. It's the problem of, this is like what you were talking about before. You're talking
Well, I'm
about
saying,
moral
does it make you
stances.
not self-esteem, probably not the. Does it make, in other words, if you're one of those people who sit and watch somebody be bullied, okay, you feel badly about the person being bullied and the fact that you didn't do anything,
Oh, absolutely.
okay? But the fact that you ladies are actually going out and affecting change, doing something about it, it kind of relieves a lot of that inner self-loathing, so to speak. Would you agree with that?
Well, self-loathing is a little strong.
Yeah, I just made that up.
One of my platforms is promoting domestic violence awareness, and that just comes from the moral standpoint where nobody should have to feel like they're in danger in their own home, like
Right.
where they're supposed to feel safe and warm and cared for, but instead they're afraid of things that can go wrong. And I have been lucky enough to meet.
Oh wait,
the
you didn't.
people-
We haven't. No, we didn't introduce you, but okay. Sorry, Andrea. No,
Andrea was the one that was doing the.
I'm Kim.
bullying.
That's
you're Kim.
Kim,
Okay.
Kim,
Kim
Kim,
is
Kim,
this-
Katz.
I guess
Kim,
yeah.
Kim,
The Greek girl.
Greek girl, yes.
You remember
The
that?
Greek one.
Now do I get it in order? Sorry.
Yes.
Glendy, is that it?
Glendy, that's it.
Huh?
Yeah, the Glendy in where are we again?
Manchester.
Manchester.
Yeah.
Manchester.
They're still on the Greek festival.
Oh, I see. I was like,
It finally came to me.
You're all
It
right.
always does eventually.
teamwork, very good.
Yes,
That's what
thank
we
you.
work for too.
Yes, yes.
Well, we're both brain damaged, so sometimes it works.
We actually went out to Good Morning America 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
We did?
Yeah,
Yes,
we
we
were in the
drove
we were
all night.
outside. We left at 11
drove
o'clock in the
all
morning. And I was here. There was one lady, then Sam Champion was right here, the weather guy.
Sam Champion.
Sam Champion, the weather guy, on Good Morning
We
America.
were overshooting
He
pictures
goes
of
out-
Jude Law.
Now, did you go out there? Now, say if you go out there again, you can say, and we did this, and I was like this close to Gary Hopper. Is that?
Oh, I'll make sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, it's going on Facebook. It'll be on
As
there
soon as we
tonight.
get home, we're down
Make
here
sure,
tonight.
make sure you say
course.
the Honorable Gary Hopper.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
Positively.
Yeah, absolutely,
And,
yeah.
and
We did bring our
Rick
cameras.
Santorum
Oh, good,
sticker. And the grenade.
Oh, yes, the
Yeah.
grenade is key.
Yes.
Yeah, my father was going to want one of those.
Oh, you know what's funny about this? The grenades are funny. This grenade's wicked funny.
And they're
because-
good with almost, too. I almost got him.
Yeah, right. Yes, exactly.
Only works with
I'm
hand
almost going to
grenades.
throw this.
Hand grenades and atom bombs. But yeah. Yeah, the reason this is funny is this is a World War II hand grenade. It's called, basically they called it a pineapple.
I can see
And
why.
it was outlawed after World War II by the Geneva Convention because it was, now what's the word I was going to look for?
I'm dead.
Inhumane.
Inhumane.
Oh, I thought I was going to say dead.
Literally, this was banned because it's inhumane. And the whole idea that a hand grenade would be banned because it's inhumane is so profoundly humorous to me.
Yes.
Well, we
I mean, there's so
Nuclear
such
bombs
so
are
mu-
okay, though?
Yeah, no, that's not inhumane.
and-
That
No, no, not at
vaporizes.
all.
It's not.
wait, and the roadside bombs and all that, they're humane?
Yeah, those are humane.
Oh,
I
wait.
think those are humane.
Why? Because they.
Well, they're put there by humans.
Right.
Well, how come they're
Well,
humane?
those are
They
made by
do the
guys.
same thing.
realize
they
that was
both they just shoot up.
Well, no, these were inhumane, but then they came out with the lemon-shaped ones in Korea, but those weren't inhumane.
Because they don't look like pineapples; they look like lemons.
Yeah, so it's actually pinophobia.
Ah, guess so.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It must have been.
Citrusy.
Yeah.
They need the citrus.
A little bit of
Yes.
yes,
Yes,
yes, that's
exactly.
no, because the next ones look like lemon, so I don't think it was necessarily citrus kind of thing.
Smooth. That
Yes,
the
maybe
Smooth factor.
it's
just
just
too
a
rough.
textural phobia,
Yeah, maybe miscalculation with the texture.
something.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, let's see. We've covered. No, we didn't tell. How'd you? That's Kim.
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
how did you get involved in this?
I competed in Miss New Hampshire USA in 2010. That's actually how I met Andrea.
Right. You
and
say your name a lot better than I do. It's
What-
kind of
I-
weird.
Your last name?
my last name
Yeah.
is Katsianis.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And,
that's- yeah.
After that, actually, that's when I think Charlene actually found me. After that, I got got a message on Facebook from it, and I followed it for a little while. But the last competition was in Las Vegas, and I was just thinking, there's no way I can get to Las Vegas this year. So I decided to go for it
I'll
this
hitchhike
year.
with you or something like that.
Oh, it's going to be in Boston this year.
Well, we don't have to hitchhike there. That'd be
No.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm all set with him.
That's okay.
Tried Vegas
I'm
once.
just trying to help.
Exactly.
Exactly. So anyway, so you didn't think you'd go to Las Vegas. I interrupt everything, so
That's okay.
go ahead.
And I saw that the competition was going to be in Boston in April, and I figured that obviously it's much more realistic. It's much more realistic for me to get to Boston
Boardwalk
than it
malfunction.
is to Las Vegas. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Las Vegas that's a lot of. Actually, it's not that bad for money because they used to. I don't know if they still do, but they used to. Basically have cheap flights to get people out there because they're going to spend all their money gambling.
Yeah.
I don't know if they
Yeah,
still
I don't
do
think
that.
they do that anymore because we paid some good money for flights.
Yeah.
But I'd rather be closer to home because it's easier for me to get. It was the first time I took the pageant away from the East Coast just to try it out and like to open up the West Coast area. And I'm going to be sticking with the East Coast.
A lot more expensive, I would think.
It definitely was.
Yeah.
And it was a lot harder for people to get out there and stuff.
Yeah, and plus if you're trying to do stuff or you need something or you
Well,
want
that's the whole
resources.
thing is
and-
there was no internet.
right.
So I couldn't get a hold of anybody. I couldn't, I was kind of like, it's
Oh.
definitely staying here.
A Vegas hotel with no internet.
Yeah. None of us. We all got charged
Really?
for it. Yeah. We couldn't get
charged
online.
for
They
it.
was having problems. They were doing something. There was problems out there, and nobody could get online. And I'm a full-time college student also, so
Yeah.
I do it online.
Yeah.
And trying to get online, I had to talk to my instructors because I couldn't even get online to do my schoolwork.
Huh.
And she gets more contestants here from around the country than she did in Vegas from around the country.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's-
really?
Yeah, you see a lot of the other pageants, like, and having it in Vegas and stuff like that, but I'm sticking where it is this year.
Now, do you ladies tend to want to do her pageants because they're more focused on the availability to do something to help people as opposed to, I don't know, what do the other pageants do when the girls win? I know they parade them around, but that's about it, isn't it?
That happens in our experience. So we had a routine, but it was fun.
It was fun.
It was a great experience. Yeah.
But do you like doing a pageant where you're actually doing something substantive with the crown, so to speak?
With what sold me on Charlene's pageant was when I filled out the application, I didn't have to submit a picture of any sort. She picked
So I could have.
me.
Never mind.
You
Go
could
ahead.
have. She picked me and she picked my title based on what I thought was important, and that's what I feel that pageants always say that they encourage, but it doesn't always show. And with this, I feel like it shows, and that's really what sold me with the North America pageant system. So that's something that I'm really proud to be a part of.
That is cool. Now we're going to get back to
Our current title holder.
Christine.
Yes.
I almost read Charlene.
I was just named Christine.
Like I told him before, I'm so bad with names.
Yeah.
I don't, and you know why I don't introduce you? Because I can never remember your last name. I know it's Connerton, I think.
You said it right.
I said, but I won't get it right next week.
Right. Yeah. You psych yourself out, though. You know.
No, I get brain damage. I'm
Oh,
telling
right.
you.
Oh, I'm sorry,
It's
yes.
wicked bad.
It's a thin line.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
I know you from someplace.
I think it was that.
yeah. So, Christine, you and I had a little bit of talk before this, and it was
Yes.
very encouraging. So,
Yes.
if you could share a little bit of how you got involved in this, and why.
I originally got into pageants. It was something I never thought I would do. I was told I started doing strange things when I was a teenager in high school.
Isn't that redundant?
Yeah, stranger than the normal teen.
Oh, okay.
One of the first things I remember doing, I had gotten up very early in the morning. Normal routine was to get up, take a shower, get ready for school. I went to a private high school. I had always gone to a public school, and my parents decided to put me in a private high school. So I had gotten up to take a shower, but it was 3 o'clock in the morning. I knew it was 3 o'clock in the morning, but I couldn't stop myself from doing what I was doing.
Like
So-
an OCD kind of thing?
No. It was no OCD. It was completely uncontrollable.
Really?
I was trying to stop myself from doing it, but I couldn't.
Wow.
I'm looking at I turned over, I looked at, my alarm didn't go off, I just got out of bed.
Yeah.
And I remember and I remember it like it was yesterday. And a lot of these things, I can remember it, but I also remember that trying to fight myself doing it.
Yeah.
And I looked at the clock, and I remember it being, 3-something in the morning, and I getting up and going to take a shower, and I knew that's not the time I get up to go to take a shower. So, but I went and did it anyway, and I wrapped a towel, out of the shower, wrapped a towel around my head, put my uniform on, and went back to bed. And about 20 minutes later, it was about, it was 4-something, and I got back up, still had the towel on my head, went into the kitchen, got out a cup, a small cup, a spoon, and one of those little individual coffee cakes.
Yeah.
And I poured orange juice in the cup. I drank the orange juice, put the coffee cake in the cup, put the spoon in the sink, and threw the cup with the coffee cake in it in the trash barrel, and then went back to bed.
Yeah.
And around the time it was that I would normally get up to take a shower, probably 6:30 or so, I dried my hair or what I normally do to go to school, and this whole time I kept trying to fight myself. I knew I knew I was supposed to eat the cake and throw that
Right,
away,
right,
and
right,
I was
right.
supposed to pussy. I knew, and I couldn't fight myself, and I was crying the whole time. And my parents were in bed. They never got up with me in the morning.
Yeah.
I dried my hair and went to walk to school. I would take 2 buses. I lived in Malden, but I went to Pope John in Everett. So I had to walk about a mile to the bus stop and take a bus to Everett, from Malden to Everett.
Yep.
And I have to cross this main road right by my house. I would get to the crosswalk and get halfway across the crosswalk and turn around and come back in the house, go back in the kitchen, take the cup out of the trash, go back in my room, go back, put the cup back in the trash, and start all over again. Get halfway across the street, come back, go back in the house, and
So it's like your body's on autopilot.
exactly, but not doing anything
Rational.
exactly. And I was fighting it in my head, but my body had wasn't.
You know what it sounds like? Because, like I said, I had a lot of physical problems when I was a kid. And one time, a lot of my problems had to do with severe eczema. And my eczema got so infected that actually the doctor at the time thought I had been shooting up. I was so no, really, because
Yeah.
it was that bad. And I've never done. I did some stupid things when I was a teenager, but needles, I was a
Yeah.
sissy. So, and and I had this. No, it's not the same thing, but it was. I had a seizure. My body basically just said, you know, I was so sick, and I didn't go to the doctor, and my body just went poof. It flipped.
Yeah.
And I was on the floor, and I remember thinking I was screaming, but I wasn't positive. So it sounds like almost like that. You know what your body's doing.
It's exactly what it was.
You're yelling, and you don't even know if you're yelling, and you have no control over it. And it sounds like almost kind of some sort of.
That's what it ended up being. It was a seizure, and it was called something like a. I'll think of the name of it in a second.
No, Matt will.
My
It'll just come to me. Like 10 minutes too late, it'll occur to me.
my mother eventually got up after like the fourth or fifth time that I came in the house. It was now like after school. I'd missed the bus. I was late for school, and she said, "What are you doing?" And I don't know. I don't know. And so my parents were concerned, but they didn't actually finally take me to the doctors till they had some company over, and I kept falling out of my chair. We were eating dinner, and I'd be talking, then all of a sudden I'd stop talking and I'd fall out of my chair.
Right.
Wow.
And they finally took me to a neurologist as opposed to a psychologist, mostly because of my father didn't want any psychologist involved with our family business. Our family business, he's strict
Yeah,
Italian.
yeah.
What happens in the house stays in the house. Family business is family
like
business.
Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I was lucky because of that, because if later on when they diagnosed me, they had said if they had taken me to a psychiatrist, they would have put me away because it was too difficult in the early 80s to diagnose this, and I was 16, and but they took me to the wrong neurologist at that time. They didn't take me right to Boston. They took me to the current doctor that I was seeing, and,
Yeah.
that plan, which was Pilgrim Health Plan at that time, I had to stay within the plan. And so that doctor basically used me as a guinea pig, and he put me on an immense amount of drugs that had just come over from England, and just loaded me up on it. And it was like it was valproic acid and divalproic acid. And when I used to say acid, I had the effects of being on acid.
No.
So here I am in school trying to get my work done, and I'm seeing purple elephants and green balloons, and it was
Get the hell out.
it was a nightmare, and I
they-
couldn't tell anybody.
So basically, they're trying out LSD on a 16-year-old kid
Yeah.
to try to correct
Right.
these basically seizures.
Seizures, right? But at that time, they were also saying it was narcolepsy. They were saying it was epilepsy. They were saying it was seizures. They were saying they didn't find the tumor. He wasn't the one who actually found the tumor.
Yeah.
It wasn't until they wanted to give me shock therapy. And
Oh my gosh.
we wanted a second opinion. My mother said, no, we want a second opinion. So they said, yeah, we'll give you a second opinion in the plan. We'll send you to this doctor at this hospital. And I'll never forget, his name was Dr.
Shivago?
Goldstein. And there's like a million Goldsteins. And he was at Beth Israel Hospital, and he said, I literally tapped my elbows, my wrists, and my knees, put the light in my eyes and the light in my ear, and he said, well, Miss Rosati, well, I was Amato then, You are not a typical 17-year-old. You have an atypical psychiatric disorder which requires long-term psychiatric care. You cannot go to college. You cannot get a job. You need to sit home because you will not. You'll be lucky if you make it past 21. And I remember sitting there saying, well, why have you been treating me with all these outrageous amounts of drugs for all these years? And, you know, I mean, I had gained weight, I had lost weight, I was vomiting, I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, never went to a party at all in high school, never told
Well, you
anybody
didn't
in high
need to.
school.
You're already doing drugs.
Exactly, exactly. I don't know how I could stand. I had a boyfriend at the time, and he was going off to Florida, and we were supposed to get married, but I couldn't tell him about what was going on with me because he was going off to his great life, and he would have put it off for me, and I couldn't do that.
Right.
So we dropped them all together. My father said, this is ridiculous. He finally realized, at the time, he never had come to the appointments with me. Finally, he realized this is really something wrong.
There's something really going on here, and these guys are.
Messing with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they had given me so much medication at that time. They had already messed with so much in my body that I really wasn't going to live past 21. So my mother took me to another doctor at Beth Israel, Dr. Schomer, and he immediately took me off all that medication, put me in the hospital for about 10 days, did every test possible. That's when they found the tumor. And it's a deeply embedded cerebellum tumor that connects my spine to my cerebellum to my spine. They couldn't take it out because it was
So
filled,
intertwined.
and it was filled with spinal fluid. And if they took it out, it would leave such a gap that there would be nothing connecting my cerebellum to my spine. And at that time, and maybe not even now, which I told you they can't see it now anymore because of the pacemaker. I have no heartbeats of my own. They can only see with an MRI. There's no roadmap to look at it. There would be what's going to connect my cerebellum to my spine. Would I be paralyzed? Would I be able to
Right.
live with that missing? And since then, it's taken so much of my life since I turned 30.
2 minutes, Gary.
Oh, we get. Oh,
Almost
right.
done.
Yeah, it's
Oh, sorry.
Well,
we only
I
got
was
2 minutes.
able
So anyway, we gotta finish up quick.
Okay, so I'll finish really quick. What I had to do, I had to learn to live with who I am and how the way that I am, and it's not. We're put on this earth how we are, the way that we are, and we have to learn to live with the body that we're given.
Well, you use the analogy that we used earlier about the hand deck of, the car.
Right. My platform was disabled, not discouraged. And I needed to teach my daughter that I'm not discouraged about the way that I am. I was dealt this hand for a reason. I was put on this earth this way. I have no reason to fold. I will not fold that hand that I have. I will play this hand to the day that I die. This is the present. I have the present. And the present, for some reason, was called that. It's a gift to me, as a present would be to anybody else. And I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. I am thankful for every day that I have. And given opportunities like the pageant, this pageant never looked at me any way different than anybody else that was in it. I will never can thank Charlene and the pageant for what they have done for me. And I will always give back any way that I can. And this hand that I'm dealt, I will take the cards that I'm given, I will throw away what I don't need, and I will take what I can use, and I will never fold.
Amen.
Amen.
Because that's what it's all about, and that's what I think a message you can bring to the younger kids too is all you get's today.
Right.
The only thing you can do in life is the next right thing. That's it.
That's right.
That's all you got is today and doing the right thing.
And
And-
hedge for tomorrow. Learn
God.
from your past.
Exactly. God gave you the hand you got for a reason. Deal with it, and do the next right thing. And life is really tough. It isn't easy, But thank you for ladies. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
You're very beautiful, and I don't mean that's. I don't. Well, okay, so I was being shallow again.
All
Okay, thank you very much, folks. We'll
Thanks,
see you next
everybody.
week.
Thank you
I have
for
no
having us.
clue what we're doing next week, again.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.